Greetings Foundlings, FiOth here, and in today's vid we're gonna be analyzing each of the 4 mortal shells available in the game. The game launched about 48 hours ago. People who had early access to it were lucky enough to experience it earlier, but as it stands, the vast majority of us had to wait until pretty much yesterday. I wasn't able to finalize each one of the cells. I've done pretty decent progress with 2 of them, but it will be easy to give you a pretty thorough look at them by explaining their skill trees and just a couple of, let's say, character specific animations that can be found in game. We're gonna examine the cells from left to right as they appear in the cells menu, and we're gonna go in depth with their abilities whilst examining their available perks. Let's go. First and foremost, you have HARROS, and this will be the first cell that you will stumble upon as the Foundling. HARROS is pretty much your average balanced fighter. Literally every single one of his stats are the same: a 5 out of 10 in durability, stamina and resolve. Before we go any further, let's see what each of these stats does for the character. Durability is the amount of health they possess. Stamina is the amount of stamina that they can expend before they run out, and resolve is the availability and gains of resolve used to perform specific special moves. So outside of the menu, HARROS' stats should be looking something like what you see on the bottom left. Not all my resolve is full at the moment, but you can see my health bar and you can also see my stamina bar, and this is what you are stuck with throughout the game. In Mortal Shell, characters don't actually gain larger health pools or stamina pools, they gain specific perks with a few exceptions, and these additional perks make them more deadly in combat. So what are HARROS' abilities? Your initial unlock is just HARROS' name. This will have to be done with every single cell. You have to get their identity first before you can delve deeper into their personal traits. We're gonna take it from top of the wheel to the right and then to the left clockwise, examining what they can do. Accretion of Resolve. Harden cooldown is reduced by 25%, costing 2500 tar and 15 glimpses. Tar can be used by all of your characters and is basically shared, whilst glimpses are obtained by the character you are controlling throughout combat by picking up glimpses left by the enemies, or acquired by using glimpse consumables in the inventory. The glimpses are not shared. Each character has their own pool, so using a character and focusing on unlocking his abilities will be essential as you use them and become more familiar with them. So accretion of resolve is pretty self-explanatory. Harden will cool down 25% faster if you're not using anything else on top of it. Accretion of endurance. Hardening causes HARROS' stamina to rapidly refill. When you harden, your stamina will refill faster, making you combat ready after you come out of harden. Very useful. Accretion of Ascent. Killing 2 enemies in quick succession resets your harden cooldown. At the beginning of the game, this might seem like a tall order. Enemies are pretty beefy and you sometimes feel quite weak, but as you grow stronger, and I can attest to that, as you upgrade your weapons, enemies will go down fast, especially the small fries, and this can be very useful when you are in situations where you're taking a lot of damage or are attacked by multiple assailants. Accretion of Inheritance. Hardening lasts for twice as long upon being broken. This will make your hardening actually more effective. It says, Silent, the newborn crawled from the earth's viscera, a gaunt, sallow-skinned creature, not entirely inhuman. Its hands grasped uselessly at her deflated form, her lips writhed and coiled around, perhaps in embrace. You should also take a couple of seconds reading. Everything's written in the game because there's really strong writing here. So hardening lasts for twice as long upon being broken by using Accretion of Inheritance. Recollection of Death. Regain last chance upon defeating enough foes. This is available to all characters. What it does basically is that it will restore the white blip at the left of your health and stamina bars, which allows you to be thrown out of your cell when you are mortally wounded, taking control of the Foundling with just a minute health bar and a ton of stamina, so you can run back to your cell and avoid having to respawn at Cesta. Recollection of Knowledge. Harden in the air to create a devastating area of impact upon landing. Foes killed by the blast may drop an additional glimpse. Guys, this is ridiculously useful but very situational. You definitely want to see it in action. Take my word for it. Invest in it when you can. It also helps a lot with building up your glimpse pool. So give it a go. It will surely come in handy. Recollection of Strength. Put your enemies off balance with a powerful kick. You perform a kick by pressing square, and you can take them off balance easily or throw them off cliffs for the associated trophy as well. Very useful. It costs 1 resolve. Accretion of Yearning adds a chance for enemies to drop an additional glimpse on death. Very, very useful. You want this. It will help you grow HARROS, and since he's your first and best balanced of the warriors, you might want to get him up to speed as soon as possible. Accretion of Foresight. Gaining a glimpse has a chance to restore some health. As you pick up the glimpse, you get some health. Pretty basic stuff. Accretion of Dominance. For a short time after hardening, enemies killed have a chance to drop an additional glimpse. So HARROS is your balanced, as I said, warrior, and he also have a couple of tricks up his sleeve to help him with his economy, so you can upgrade him faster. The first cell that you get in game, a very strong, very reliable one that you will grow accustomed to, since it will be your only choice for the first couple of hours. Let's move on to the next one. Our second cell is Solomon the Scholar. As you can see at the bottom left, Solomon has a slightly bigger health pool than HARROS. We're gonna go and check his stats. Solomon is, let's say, the character that benefits most by interacting with the environment. He gains buffs and glimpses by interacting with NPCs and with lore stones, make him a very good choice for general traversal. So here we are. As you can see, he has 7 out of 10 in his durability. That makes him more durable by 2 points compared to HARROS. His stamina is 5 out of 10, basic like HARROS's, and his resolve is maxed, meaning his gains of resolve and his resolve pool available at any given moment is the largest one possible. Here is his perk pool. As you can see, I pretty much maxed him out because I like his bonuses. Accretion of Resolve. When holding a Sacred Gland, Solomon gains 25 maximum health. When not holding a gland, Solomon gains 1 maximum resolve segment. This is related to the story, but either way you get a benefit even if you have the artifact or if you do not. So it's worth investing in this one. It's a win-win situation. Accretion of Endurance. Solomon has a chance to heal on using a weapon ability to slay an enemy. This is actually very nice. Upon having 2 endurance points, you can use a weapon art to kill or incapacitate enemies. Killing them with such an ability helps you heal. Solomon gains resolve very fast, so you can have this ebb and flow between getting resolve and expanding it to possibly heal. These abilities are also very powerful. They're not like your Dark Souls 3 focus attacks. These are pretty much staple supers that make you invulnerable for a couple of seconds upon casting them and deal tremendous damage, so you wanna be using them and you wanna grow accustomed to them. A Christian of Ascent, killing an enemy with an empowered riposte has a chance to restore all resolve. An empowered riposte is a riposte performed whilst having resolve, and if you pull it off, you have a chance of regaining all your resolve. This cannot be underestimated, guys. Having back all your resolve in a boss fight, let's say, will be pretty devastating, because you can then go ham on them with your special attacks. Do not underestimate this. This is very powerful. A Christian of Inheritance, Solomon gains a small amount of resolve when being struck while hardened. Very good, since hardening is always available. You harden to get resolve as well as some breathing room whilst being attacked. Recollection of Death, regain last chance upon defeating enough foes, just like HARROS is. Recollection of Knowledge, this is the hardening slam mid-air, just like HARROS is. And Strength, put your enemy off balance with a powerful kick, pretty much the same thing. A Christian of Yearning, when talking to an NPC, Solomon gains a segment of resolve. You actually gain a segment of resolve upon talking to an NPC, extremely useful for preparing for tough battles. A Christian of Foresight, Solomon becomes more familiar with items more quickly and gains a glimpse on reading lore for the first time. So, as you walk around the environment, you read new lore from lore stones, you get glimpses. You use an item to know its true purpose, you get more familiarity out of it. Very useful from the beginning of the game to the end of it, since you're always upgrading, gaining glimpses. You can also invest glimpses in other things around the game, not just on upgrading your character, so this really never goes out of fashion. A Christian of Dominance, the duration of time enemies remain hardened when you are separated from Solomon is increased. This is amazing. When you have second chance available and you get knocked out of your cell, the enemies will remain hardened for so long that you can pretty much just waltz around and pick up your cell once more, pretty much giving you a free and safe restoration. Solomon is very powerful, guys. He's been my favorite so far. Definitely check him out as soon as possible. Let's move on to the next one. Next one is EREDRIM. EREDRIM is a very interesting character. He has a huge health pool, as you can see here, and the smallest amount of stamina available. Not by far, but it's still the smallest one. His utility is twofold. He can benefit from fighting multiple foes at a time, whilst also receiving different benefits from fighting single enemies like bosses. So, EREDRIM the Venerable has 10 out of 10 on his durability, 3 out of 10 on stamina, which means he has even less stamina than HARROS, and 3 resolve, the least available out of the 2 previous cells. A Christian of Resolve. EREDRIM gains an execution stack upon killing an enemy. Each stack increases base attack damage. Stacks are lost when separating for EREDRIM, so as you waltz around killing enemies, EREDRIM becomes more powerful by just killing enemies. This can amass to a substantial damage bonus, so if you aim at upgrading him, avoid separating from him or using second chance to retain these bonuses and keep them stuck for the longest available time. Accretion of endurance. EREDRIM's max HP is increased by 15%. He gains even more health. As I said, there are a few exceptions to how much HP you can have. This will make his health pool even more humongous. Accretion of Ascent. EREDRIM's attacks deal additional poise damage, causing enemies to stagger more frequently. Enemies might not have stamina or key bars like in Neo, for example, but you can see they're staggering when they get hit. This will make your staggering against foes even more effective. Accretion of Inheritance. EREDRIM deals extra damage against enemies who are alone. This is excellent when fighting a boss, so you can go out in the world, kill a few enemies, get your Accretion of Resolve up, and then go up against the boss and get even more damage to deal with him by using Accretion of Inheritance. Recollection of Death. You gain last chance upon defeating enough foes. Recollection of Knowledge. Harden in the air to create a devastating area of impact effect, just as we said earlier. Recollection of Strength. Put your enemies off balance with a powerful kick. Pretty much the same stuff in all characters. Accretion of Yearning. EREDRIM is occasionally able to resist being knocked down. Very nice. It's RNG, but still very useful. Accretion of Foresight. On kill, EREDRIM gains a buff which reduces damage taken by 5% for 10 seconds. Become more tanky as you kill enemies in scenarios where you are outnumbered. Accretion of Dominance. Upon reclaiming EREDRIM, your next attack will deal massive damage, sometimes exploding your enemies into a bloody mist. This is awesome, guys. Whilst you are fighting a tough enemy, for example, you might get knocked out of this shell, and then you can get back into the shell and maybe use a 2 stack of resolve for a special attack that will deal massive damage and probably reduce your enemy into a bloody pulp. Very interesting. So you can see EREDRIM gets ready to fight big monsters whilst traversing the environment, and then you can go up against said monsters and rip them to shreds. Very nice. Onward to the last one. Our last shell is TIEL the Acolyte, and TIEL has a specific skill that no other shell possesses that can be noticed from the get-go. If you dodge by double tapping circle, TIEL actually side steps in the direction you tell him, allowing you to retaliate faster and more effectively than the other characters who actually have to roll. He also has a huge stamina bar, which means that you can attack more often in bigger streaks and avoid more often as well. So this is an advantage from the get-go. Let's check his stats. 3 out of 10 durability, the least durable of all characters, but he has 10 out of 10 on stamina, making him very evasive and able to attack in longer streaks, as I said. He has 2 out of 10 resolve, very poor, also on the lowest spectrum. Accretion of Resolve. Sprinting doesn't consume TIEL's stamina. You can run indefinitely pretty much. Accretion of Endurance. Gain a damage bonus when low on stamina. As you reduce your stamina, your damage will increase. This is very nice when you get enemies locked into combos and you want to keep hammering at them. Accretion of Ascent. TIEL gains 20% chance to lose stamina instead of health on taking damage. So 1 out of 5 attacks you take pretty much will damage your stamina instead of your health. This is not de facto, of course. You might get hit twice and lose stamina both times. You might get hit 20 times and lose stamina once. But it's a good stance, improving your survivability. Accretion of Inheritance. Striking a poisoned enemy increases the chances TIEL's other passives will trigger. Now, TIEL is pretty much a poisoner and assassin stable character, let's say. So we're gonna check his poisoning in a sec. Recollection of Death, Recollection of Knowledge, and Recollection of Strength are the same as with all other characters, so I don't need to explain them again. Accretion of Yearning. Taking poison damage heals Steel for a portion of the damage which would have been dealt. Extremely useful when going against enemies that tend to poison you. There are quite a few of those scattered around the environment. Accretion of Foresight. On empowered riposte, TIEL will sometimes release a poisonous cloud. That poisonous cloud will envelop an area and poison every enemy that enters, tickling away at their health as the fight goes on. On killing an enemy, TIEL gains a buff which poisons enemies on hit. Lose this buff when you are hit. So if you are evasive enough, you can keep this buff going and keep poisoning enemies and watch them die helplessly as the time of open confrontation draws longer. Very, very interesting, and this character is very interesting if you wanna play, let's say, a more agile character that has a trick up his sleeve. As I said, an assassin archetype. So these are our 4 cells, guys. I hope this makes your choice of cell at the beginning and during the game a little bit easier. You do not have to stick to one. We have to make this clear. You can keep changing according to the circumstance, and as you gain access to these consumables, the effigies, you can swap characters literally on the fly whenever you deem it necessary. So experiment with them, see what each one of them has to offer, and find, let's say, a rhythm to how you approach various situations. It's been FiOth, guys. This is my second vid for Mortal Shell. According to how much stuff I can discover in the game and how much these vids are gonna progress, I might keep making more and more of them. So sub, like, and share for more content like this, and until next time, be well, stay frosty, and always strive for perfection. Cheers!